Soul Land Episode 158 Original Novel DouLuo DaLu. Chapter 191. Porcupine Fish, Snake Lance, Soul Breaking Spear. TL by Bagelson. When Snake Lance DouLuo turned and pounced, his aura had already completely changed to target Yang Wudi. With the difference in spirit power level, he could completely change his target as he wished. As he targeted Yang Wudi, he immediately discovered that this person's body seemed full of weak points. Moreover, these weren't deliberately exposed, but rather true weak points. As if wherever he thrust his snake lance, he could immediately give him 1,000 cuts and 100 holes. This was also fact. Even after Yang Wudi thrust out that spear, Snake Lance DouLuo still felt the same. However, he still couldn't use his snake lance to give his opponent a mortal blow, because he clearly sensed that if his snake lance landed on the opponent, then, that dark spear in his hand held enough force to pierce through him. The second spirit ring flickering on the dark spear bloomed with light. It was only a simple ability, called Pierce. It increased penetration power by 100%. Yang Wudi was still a spirit DouLuo level power, and every one of his spirit rings were all focused on offense. Even this title DouLuo in front of him wasn't his equal in pure offense. It clearly showed how powerful Yang Wudi's offense was. That spear, brimming with bitter desperation, rigidly met that snake lance DouLuo's 9 shadows and fused into one, and the purple snake lance could only meet Yang Wudi's soul-breaking spear from the front. Yang Wudi suddenly shouted loudly in the instant the soul-breaking spear and snake lance came into contact, his first spirit ability also simultaneously flashing. It was the spirit ability that had given Tang San enormous trouble, shock. The slightly trembling spear point was just pressing against the center of the snake lance's fork. The two great spirit abilities Pierce and Shock were erupting with the full force of Yang Wudi's purely offensive spirit power. And just at this moment, the white light of Tang San's Death God domain also abruptly flourished, following Yang Wudi's body to completely cover his spear. Ding Weng! 2 different sounds echoed one after another. The first sound was the shuddering after the collision of spear and lance. The second sound was the ringing of the snake lance. Regardless of whether it was Shweking He, Porcupine Fish DouLuo, or Snake Lance DouLuo, before the start of this battle, none of them had anticipated a scene like this. With a muffled grunt, Snake Lance DouLuo flew backwards, the snake lance in his hands trembling so violently he almost dropped it. His whole body faced upwards, spitting out a mouthful of blood, retreating until he stood next to Shweking He before regaining his balance. His face turned deathly white, he had unexpectedly suffered heavy injuries from Yang Wudi's spear. Underestimating Yang Wudi was his biggest mistake. He could never have dreamed that a spirit DouLuo, with such a large difference in level, could actually produce such a spear. Even more baffling was that only Yang Wudi's first and second spirit abilities were amplifying his spear, whereas he had already released the Snake Lance's third spirit ability at the time of the collision, but had still ended up like this. How could Snake Lance DouLuo know that Yang Wudi was actually the chief of the Breaking Clan? He had all his life researched how to make his attacks even stronger, and even title DouLuo might suffer when comparing attacks. This was also why Tang San was originally sent flying by one of Yang Wudi's attacks despite the added attributes of 4 great spirit bones as well as a 100,000-year spirit ring. Even more so when Yang Wudi now wasn't using only his own strength, but was also within Tang San's Death God domain. As early as in his fight with Yang Wudi, Tang San had already noticed that, if his Death God domain and Yang Wudi's power were merged, they could undergo a qualitative leap. Yang Wudi's spirit battle style imposing manner, an imposing manner pressing forward fearlessly and an uncompromising attack power. Whether it was the Death God domain's boost to imposing manner or attack power, both brought out the best in each other with him. The rise of the enormous murderous spirit spread into Yang Wudi's heart, immediately bringing his attack power to an unprecedented level. Even among title DouLuo, perhaps only Sword DouLuo Chen Xin and title DouLuo with the Clear Sky Hammer might be qualified to compete with him head-on in attack power. Yang Wudi's true attack power was all on the soul-breaking spear. Even though spirit abilities were important, compared to normal spirit masters, he relied very little on them. Further adding the flash of Tang San's Death God domain's evolved ability Death God Assault in the moment the spear and lance collided, both strengthening their side and weakening the opponent, it immediately caused an incomparable effect. That's why Snake Lance DouLuo instantly suffered a large loss in the collision between both sides. Shweking He's expression immediately turned unsightly, his brows creasing. Snake Lance DouLuo's pale face also turned a bit green, and anyone familiar with him knew that this title DouLuo was already extremely angry. Yang Wudi's movements didn't pause. Having forced back Snake Lance DouLuo with one spear, he turned, right foot planted heavily on the ground, the soul-breaking spear swinging around, already aimed at Porcupine Fish DouLuo. Borrowing the force from forcing off Snake Lance DouLuo, Yang Wudi's imposing manner flourished even further. In a battle like this, he grew braver the more he fought, especially when he was holding the advantage, his attack power would only constantly rise. He followed Tang San's suggestion to stay defensive, but to a pure attack spirit master like him, attack was the best defense. Right now, DouLuo was just confronting that Porcupine Fish DouLuo, and neither acted rashly without forethought. DouLuo's breath of poison gas had been inhaled by the Porcupine Fish DouLuo, and he immediately understood that this Porcupine Fish DouLuo was someone Xueqing he had found specially to deal with him. Very clearly, the opponent possessed the ability to swallow poison and turn it into his own attack power. In other words, the more DouLuo used poison gas or venom, the more potent the poison adhering to the opponent's spines would be. And so, DouLuo didn't act blindly without thinking, and that Porcupine Fish DouLuo also completely locked all impetuousness inside him and didn't attack impatiently, because he clearly knew that in a confrontation of title DouLuo, even if he was stronger than DouLuo, he still might not end up victorious. The counterattack of a title DouLuo near death really was too frightening. So he waited for his compatriot to finish Yang Wudi and Tang San, then join hands with him to destroy DouLuo. This way they didn't only have greater chances of winning, but also wouldn't easily take losses. DouLuo didn't move because he was thinking about countermeasures. He clearly understood that, among title DouLuo, besides being good at poison, he was the weakest of them all. He basically couldn't defeat this Porcupine Fish DouLuo through a head-on confrontation, so how should he go about it? The two were both waiting, but the results were entirely different than what they were waiting for. Porcupine Fish DouLuo looked incredulously at Snake Lance DouLuo being forced back by Yang Wudi's spear, while DouLuo was overjoyed. How could he let such a chance slip by? With a shake, he released his spirit avatar. An ear-piercing long whistle emerged from his mouth, jadeite-like green light bursting from his body, his seventh spirit ring flashed, his tall thin body constantly transforming within that jade green light, shooting towards the sky. With emerald green rhombic scales, like sheet after sheet of inlaid jadeite, DouLuo's human figure had disappeared, now transformed into a giant dark green serpent. More than 30 meters long, as thick as a barrel. More than half of its body standing upright, surrounded by a dense green mist. The enormous body half-turned, that gigantic serpent tail whipping out towards Porcupine Fish DouLuo from another direction, forming a pincer attack with Yang Wudi. And at this moment, standing behind Yang Wudi and DouLuo, Tang San smiled. He wasn't smiling because of the circumstances before him, but because of his luck. Indeed, the two title DouLuo that Xueqing he had contracted were enough to finish DouLuo. However, Yang Wudi's existence simultaneously restrained these two spirit masters. Yang Wudi alone of course wasn't enough, he was after all still only a spirit DouLuo. But, Yang Wudi plus himself, that wouldn't be far from a title DouLuo in strength. The now extremely ugly due to his spirit body enhancement Porcupine Fish DouLuo suddenly whistled sharply. Despite being attacked from two sides, he still reacted quickly, his spherical body suddenly contracting, his fifth spirit ring immediately blossoming with purple light, and his contracted body instantly expanded again like lightning. The close to 100 venomous spines covering his body ejected simultaneously, shooting towards both Yang Wudi and DouLuo. These detachable spines didn't only carry DouLuo's Jade Phosphor Serpent Emperor poison, but simultaneously also had the Porcupine Fish Spirit Master's own poison. That powerful ejaculation force also reached a frightening level. Taking advantage of this chance, he also quickly retreated in order to once again join up with the Snake Lance Spirit Master. DouLuo clearly had no way to dodge with that enormous body, nor did he plan to dodge. The giant serpent tail swept forward again, bringing a dark green whirlwind to block in front of him. Yang Wudi's offensive nature was still so frightening. The soul-breaking spear didn't even slow down, man and spear as one, his fifth spirit ring brightening, black flame covered his whole body, his toes struck the ground, and he unexpectedly completely wove through those poison spines. At the same time as Porcupine Fish DouLuo retreated, he revealed a sneer. Were his poison spines that easy to dodge? Suddenly, more than half of the poison spines in the air exploded, turning into fragments that scattered over a wide area. But the range they covered was still controlled extremely cleverly, not affecting those spirit masters pretending to be guards all around. Yang Wudi's flaw immediately revealed itself. As a pure attack type spirit master, he immediately seemed deficient when meeting such a changeable attack. Nor did he have any thoughts of retreat, only that black flame on his body grew even stronger, and his attack power also rose to an even more frightening degree. Using offense to confront offense was his best choice under circumstances like these. He would rather take injuries himself, as long as his attack could also strike the opponent. But at this time, a rotating yellow-green ball of light suddenly appeared in front of Yang Wudi. It wasn't traveling towards him, but rather passed below him, moving in an arc and rotating, flying forward alongside him. Just when Porcupine Fish DouLuo's poison spines and poison spine fragments were about to hit Yang Wudi, that yellow-green ball of light abruptly opened up, turning into a giant net. With its violent rotation it was just like a shield, blocking all the attacks. It was Tang San's Blue-Silver Emperor Third Spirit ability, Spider Web Restraint. The power of spirit abilities was fixed, but the techniques that could be used depended on the mind of the Spirit Master himself. And in this respect, Tang San was undoubtedly quite revolutionary. The spider web deformed from the powerful strikes of the poison spines, contracting towards Yang Wudi. But those poison spines and fragments shot too quickly, and all stuck to the spider web. Tang San of course wouldn't let the spider web trap Yang Wudi. Under the control of his spiritual force, the spider web contracted in a flash, wrapping up those poison spines and curling into a large ball. The place it curled up was exactly at the tip of Yang Wudi's soul-breaking spear. The soul-breaking spear struck the sphere of curled-up spider web and, without pause, kept thrusting forward. The first spirit ring released, the spear tip jolting, and the spider web ball shot out, crashing towards the porcupine fish spirit master. And Yang Wudi's soul-breaking spear abruptly expanded, the seventh spirit ring now brightening. In the area of continuously promoting attack power, Yang Wudi could absolutely be in the top 3 of the spirit master world, and that was when including all the title DouLuo. Blue golden splendor simultaneously rose from the ground, 16 strands of blue-silver emperor instantly becoming a prison cage to envelop porcupine fish DouLuo. Even though a prison of such a level was basically nothing to a power of the title DouLuo level, it was still enough if it was only to delay him for a second. After all, even title DouLuo had to break out of it by attacking. And in a situation like the one before him now, this brief moment was enough to change the outcome. On the other side, DouLuo also relied on the powerful defense of his spirit avatar body to resist the poison spine attack. Even though porcupine fish DouLuo's poison spine attack was powerful, faced with the formidable defensive scales of DouLuo's spirit avatar, as well as DouLuo also being a poison expert, he could only slow him down. With DouLuo now incarnated as the Jade Phosphor Serpent Emperor already in the middle of his attack, even though he was slowed, he was still too close, and too powerful. He was definitely faster than Snake Lance DouLuo entering the battle. Amidst the effect of Yang Wudi's attack built up by Tang San, Porcupine Fish DouLuo was already in a difficult situation. Under such circumstances, he revealed the power of a title DouLuo. Confronting the restraints all around, Yang Wudi's powerful attack as well as the onrushing Jade Phosphor Serpent Emperor, Porcupine Fish DouLuo made the most correct choice. His body already expanded, his seventh spirit ring abruptly flourished with light. In just an instant, his whole body swelled up once again, growing exponentially compared to before. Amidst this process, he directly ignored the restraints of the blue-silver prison, forcibly bursting that blue-golden cage open. Just before Yang Wudi's soul-breaking spear could strike, his whole body had already turned into a 10-meter diameter sphere. Moreover, the lost spines also regrew, the tip of each spine as vicious-looking as 8 spider lances, close to 3 meters long. Black flame fluttering out, Yang Wudi's soul-breaking spear thrust out with peak momentum, severe imposing manner completely poured into this one spear. No matter how the opponent transformed, the soul-breaking spear never changed, still the peak of desperation. And just at this moment, Snake Lance DouLuo on the other side also reacted correspondingly. Being injured by a spirit DouLuo like Yang Wudi was an extraordinary humiliation to him, and so the target of his attack was naturally Yang Wudi. The Snake Lance left his hand, flying straight for Yang Wudi like a bolt of lightning under the effect of his fifth spirit ring. That was attacking the enemy to lift the siege. Snake Lance DouLuo's calculation of position were extremely precise. If Yang Wudi's spear struck Porcupine Fish DouLuo, then his Snake Lance would also inevitably run Yang Wudi through. Even though he wasn't a pure attack spirit master like Yang Wudi, as a title DouLuo, if this all-in-one throw Snake Lance really struck Yang Wudi, he would certainly be out of luck. Would Yang Wudi dodge? No, of course not. He would never let his own momentum drop, and his peak momentum soul-breaking spear with the amplifying effect of Tang San's Death God domain still thrust at the abruptly expanded porcupine fish DouLuo as if he didn't sense the snake lance approach. With a soft pop, as if something ruptured, porcupine fish DouLuo's extremely inflated body was just like a popped balloon, his 10-meter diameter spherical body flew out, turning several irregular arcs in the air before falling in the distance. When the soul-breaking spear struck porcupine fish DouLuo's body, Yang Wudi felt that something was wrong, as if the opponent deliberately let him puncture it. Even though the black flame successfully entered the opponent's body, Yang Wudi still felt that his black flame didn't cause much damage. This was unexpectedly porcupine fish DouLuo taking the initiative to escape the battle, and not being sent flying by his attack. Just at this moment, Tang San's silhouette abruptly appeared next to Yang Wudi, golden light shielding him, blocking Snake Lance DouLuo's Snake Lance from the front. The Snake Lance shot out with a loud sound. Even Title DouLuo were unable to cause him any harm within the 3 seconds of invincible golden body. Of course, Tang San's use of invincible golden body was limited. Along with advancing his understanding of the spirit ring and spirit bone Xiaowu gave him, Tang San had already discovered that Xiaowu's sudden death 8-stage drop within his 6th spirit ability could only be used once a day, and this invincible golden body could at most only be used 3 times in a day. Unlike the teleportation that could be used repeatedly. Porcupine fish DouLuo recovered his appearance from before using spirit avatar and landed next to Xue Qinghe, and because he didn't dare fight alone due to his previous injuries, Snake Lance DouLuo also caught his Snake Lance in midair, shot back, and landed on Xue Qinghe's other side. In the brief exchange, against Xue Qinghe's expectations, his side of 2 Title DouLuo had unexpectedly been completely at a disadvantage. Snake Lance DouLuo's injuries weren't light. Porcupine fish DouLuo's body also gave off black smoke, his fierce loathing expression even uglier. Even though he relied on the special ability of Spirit Avatar to escape the battlefield, Yang Wudi's potential attack power really was too great. The black flame as well as its own attack power contained within that one spear caused enormous damage to his internal organs, his injuries even more serious than Snake Lance DouLuo's. This was admittedly due Tang San's trio's own strength, but it was also because of these 2 Title DouLuo underestimating the enemy. Even if DouGubo was also a Title DouLuo, they looked down on a spirit master of the same level who used poison. Tang San and Yang Wudi were even more directly disregarded, thus leading to the series of successive strikes. Frowning slightly, Xue Qinghe raised a hand and stopped the 2 Title DouLuo from throwing themselves into the fight yet again. Looking at Tang San's trio, his eyes unexpectedly revealed some admiration. Good, very good. Worthy of Tang Hao's son. I have not asked for this spirit DouLuo's noble name. Such formidable attack power. I fear there is nobody in the spirit DouLuo level who can surpass it. If it hadn't been for Yang Wudi's powerful offense, the 2 Title DouLuo underestimating them still wouldn't have changed anything. On the surface it seemed that Porcupine Fish DouLuo and Snake Lance DouLuo had actually been defeated by the Spirit DouLuo, but Tang San and DouGubo had an even more impeding effect. Yang Wudi raised the soul-breaking spear in his hand, speaking with a stiff expression. Yang Wudi. Standing on Xue Qinghe's left side, Snake Lance DouLuo's expression changed. Might that be Yang Wudi of the Breaking Clan? Yang Wudi proudly said. That's right. Having just repelled 2 Title DouLuo in succession, right now his imposing manner had already reached its peak, and it was under such conditions that his spirit could display its greatest effect. Even if he were to face a Title DouLuo in single combat right now, he still wouldn't lose in imposing manner. The strongest point of the pure offense soul-breaking spear was that it wouldn't be overwhelmed by any opponent's imposing manner, even Title DouLuo level pressure wasn't able to influence his display. Xue Qinghe suddenly understood. So that's how it is. The Breaking Clan of the Clear Sky School. No wonder you would help Tang San. Yang Wudi snorted coldly. My Breaking Clan hasn't been associated with the Clear Sky School for a long time. The one I'm helping is Tang San, unrelated to the Clear Sky School. His hatred for the Clear Sky School wouldn't change because of him being related to Tang San. Xue Qinghe smiled mildly. Tang San, you've given me yet another surprise. It seems that the intelligence I had was still incomplete. You can always create miracles. However, do you believe you can still escape today? You have no army to help you. Within my Heaven Do Imperial Palace, you couldn't fly off even if you grew wings. Wouldn't it be better for us to discuss terms? Discuss what terms? Tang San asked indifferently. What he hoped for the most was to stall for time, naturally he wasn't in any hurry to fight. Even if those 2 Title DouLuo were both injured, even bugs would still show signs of life after being stepped on 100 times, let alone powers at this level. If they did their utmost, the force they could explode with wasn't something they could block. With this chance, Yang Wudi and Dugubo could also rest a bit to recover what they had spent before. He smiled unhurriedly, saying, I have no need to hide it from you. The circumstances within Heaven Do City are currently already completely within my control. Right, I'm collaborating with Spirit Hall. Moreover, this time I've had 3,000 Spirit Hall Spirit Masters infiltrate Heaven Do City. The Imperial family has altogether 4,000 Spirit Masters, and 2,000 of those are at your Grand Master's place for training, the other 2,000 are guarding the Imperial Palace. As Crown Prince, they will naturally follow my dispatches. In other words, I control a total of 5,000 Spirit Masters. I think, the reason you fired the signal was undoubtedly to request help from two sides. One is the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School within the Imperial Palace, the other is Shrek Academy's Grand Master. Among the 3,000 Spirit Masters I've transferred from Spirit Hall this time, there are 4 Spirit Hall Elders. Besides these two, there are still 2 currently bringing 3,000 Spirit Masters, including those 2,000 Spirit Masters within the palace, to encircle the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. It's impossible for them to help you. As for Grand Master's side, not long ago I sent a letter to the leader of the Imperial Family Spirit Masters currently training there, telling him that Shrek Academy might revolt, and to have him maintain strict surveillance. Even if Grand Master has prestige among those Spirit Masters, it's still impossible to dispatch the Imperial Family's Spirit Masters to attack the Imperial Palace. And these Spirit Masters will moreover control those students in Shrek Academy. At the same time, for insurance, I've also dispatched 1,000 Spirit Hall Spirit Masters to monitor Shrek Academy. Even if something changes, they can still instantly stop them. It's impossible for those Academy students to break past this rampart. At this point, He gave a light laugh. Even though I was originally planning to hold off a few months before moving, and we've now shifted it ahead a bit, how would all these years of planning be something you alone could spoil? Within this palace is still the 1,000 Spirit Masters I control personally, as well as my personal guard controlling the situation. If my Imperial father dies from the poison, I will logically succeed the throne. At that time, not only will those 2,000 Spirit Masters in Shrek Academy listen to my orders, at the same time the entire Heaven Do City army will be under my command. I am the new Lord of Heaven Do Empire. Years of accumulated experience isn't something you can destroy. Persevering will only let you lose your precious lives in vain. At this point, He took a step forward, his smile even more intense, that kind of feeling of planning in advance illustrating his formidable confidence. Don't keep struggling, no matter what your goal is, first you have to stay alive. Right? Even if you don't do it for yourself, you should still think of Xiao Wu who gave her life for you. Even if I don't know just how you resurrected Xiao Wu, I can see that she's still abnormal. Honestly, I'm a bit jealous. You could get 100,000-year spirit ring. However, I'm even more interested in standing in the same camp as you. You should have seen that I am a person who reaches my goals by any means. I can even put aside the hatred of killing my father. Tang San, swear allegiance to me, you can raise your conditions. As long as you help me sincerely, I can even make you below only one person in Heaven Do Empire, and above millions. I think favorably of your talent, your potential. From Senior Yang Wudi being here, I can see that you no longer have any relationship with the Clear Sky School. The Clear Sky School is a turtle with its head in its shell, they will naturally not stick it out for your sake. Swear allegiance to me. That is your best choice for the future. Watching He display such puzzling sincerity, Tang San nodded slowly. Even though I quite loathe you, I have to admit that you're right. If I choose to swear allegiance to you, my future development will undoubtedly be a gallop across flat country. However, my conditions aren't something you can agree to. He smiled slightly, saying, that's not certain. You still underestimate what I can endure. Maybe, I can agree to it. Light flashed in Tang San's eyes. I have 2 conditions. Since you already know about Xiao Wu, you naturally also understand that I will definitely avenge Xiao Wu in the future. My first condition, is to kill all the people who surrounded me and Xiao Wu in Star Do Great Forest, including Chrysanthemum DouLuo and Ghost DouLuo. Can you agree? He's brows wrinkled slightly, unexpectedly not refuting Tang San, but rather pondering on it, as if carefully considering pros and cons. After a long time, he slowly nodded. Even though this condition is quite difficult, I can agree to it. But the premise is that your own strength first reaches the title DouLuo level, then I can agree to it. Because only by becoming a title DouLuo can you give me benefits surpassing that of those two elders. As for the others, I recall that Hulina didn't attack you. Apart from her, the others are no problem. Tang San carefully studied the expressions of the two title DouLuo next to Xue Qinghe. Hearing Xue Qinghe's words, even though these two title DouLuo had somewhat unsightly expressions, even with their status as Spirit Hall elders, they unexpectedly didn't refute Xue Qinghe. Just this bit showed that Xue Qinghe had a very high status in Spirit Hall. But when Xue Qinghe was considering Tang San's conditions, he was really considering Tang San's potential. He was a person who put benefit above all, and in his heart Tang San's value was higher than that of two senior title DouLuo. He talked about agreeing in the future, and at that time Chrysanthemum DouLuo and Ghost DouLuo would already be old, with almost no more value to extract from them. Trading them for Tang San was clearly worth it. Seeing Tang San's somewhat astonished gaze, Xue Qinghe smiled slightly. Tang San, this is enough to prove my sincerity. I certainly am not any good person, but I will definitely accomplish what I promise. Tang San nodded, saying, I believe you. It's true that nasty people are cuter than hypocrites. Xue Qinghe revealed a cheerful expression. That means you agree. If he had to say who within Heaven Do City he regarded as most important, it wouldn't be Tang San in front of him, nor Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School Master Ning Fengzi, but rather Shrek Academy's Grand Master. Even though Tang San's potential was immense, he was after all only one person. But Grand Master could cultivate powerful spirit masters by the tens of thousands. And Tang San was Grand Master's only disciple. If he agreed to defect, then Grand Master would naturally be no problem. Thus, the value of one Tang San was actually just too great. Besides Grand Master, there was still the Shrek Academy. Xue Qinghe very clearly understood Tang San's position among the Shrek Seven Devils, as well as in the Shrek Academy. Tang San shook his head. No, I still haven't agreed. I just said I have two conditions. That just now was only the first. Xue Qinghe smiled slightly, saying. Then speak. I can even agree to sacrifice two title DouLuo, is there still something I couldn't? The Heaven Do Empire spans half the continent. With Spirit Hall's support, it's very possible that the future will only hold one empire. Hearing Xue Qinghe say this, Tang San couldn't keep a chill from his heart, immediately aware of Spirit Hall's plans. Even if he currently still didn't understand why Xue Qinghe could possess such a lofty position and unconditional support within Spirit Hall, he could imagine that, if Spirit Hall supported him like this, with the backing of all of Spirit Hall, Star Luo Empire absolutely couldn't compete with Heaven Do Empire. And at that time, Spirit Hall would unify the continent through Heaven Do Empire. This was clearly easiest to accept for the common people. Starting from when Spirit Hall spared no effort to destroy the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan and wound the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School, the entire enormous plan was already set in motion. With the destruction of two great sects, not only did Spirit Hall's dominant position in the Spirit Master world become even more distinct, it was also equivalent to sweeping aside Heaven Do Empire's walls. The Clear Sky School was sealed, no longer a problem. Even if they reopened their gates again, they would only have their directly related disciples, lacking in quantity. And with the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan in ruins, besides Spirit Hall, the faction with greatest Spirit Master strength within the Heaven Do Empire was the Heaven Do Imperial family. Thus, first of all, the Heaven Do Empire side would have no defenses. It finish here. Remember subscribes if you have not. Likes, comments and shares my friend. Xiao Wu will like you.